Today I am basically just going to do a little bit of an introduction to Chapter 2, and then we'll actually start Chapter 2 tomorrow. I don't want you to write this down in your notes, but I want you just to look at these two problems. They say the same things, and I want you to try to figure out what you think the answer would be. Once again, please don't write this in your notes. Just try to do it in your head. All right, so I heard 3 different answers that you guys think this is. Let's talk about this first part. Once again, remember, you don't need to write this down. Just kind of watch with me as I do this. Guys, what's 5 plus 4? 9. What does this dot mean? Times. I'm going to just drop down that times and bring down the 2. Class, what's 9 times 2? 18. How many of you would say that was the answer that you got, 18? Unfortunately, this is not correct. Have any of you heard of order of operations before? The order that you do things in math really matters, okay? And we're going to talk about that. That's our main lesson for today. Unfortunately, you actually have to do multiplication before you ever do addition. So guys, what's 4 times 2? 8. And then I'm going to bring down this other part right here. 5 plus 8. What's the answer? Not 14. 13. So the correct answer should have been 13. And today's lesson, once again, is going to be about how you can know for sure that you always solve them correctly by using order of operations. So here, I'm telling you, the order matters. Say this phrase with me. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Say it together. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. All right, so you could see P, E, M, D, A, and S. I heard someone say it. What does that stand for? PEMDAS, okay? So please pull out your red pens, and I want you to fill this part in your notes with your red pen. All right, here we have PEMDAS. Everyone say parentheses. Parentheses. All right, so parentheses can be the normal-looking parentheses that we see here, but it could also be those other things right here, okay? Or it could be something that looks like this, where you have a fraction bar, okay? Because fraction bar means to divide within those parentheses. Next up, exponents. A lot of people think that that says 3 times 2, but it doesn't. It should be 3 times itself. So I want you to take your pencil and write over here 3 times 3. If I had 4 squared, what does 4 squared mean? 3 times. What does 4 squared mean? 4 times 4. What does 5 squared mean? 5 times 4. What does 10 squared mean? 10 times 10. All right, very good. So anything squared means you're multiplying it by itself. Let's go on to the next one. Multiplication and division. If you notice, I have put them here on the same line. Those are basically in the same category. So I did not write PEMDAS like this. P, E, M, D, A, S. Notice, I have the multiplication and the division on the same line. That means whichever one comes first, whether it's left or right, that is what you're going to do first. Same idea here with addition and subtraction. Whatever comes first in your problem from left to right is how you'll do it first. It does not mean addition will always be before subtraction, and it does not mean subtraction will always be before addition. It has to do with how it lands in the problem. So we're going to do a few problems together, and hopefully this will make a little bit more sense. According to PEMDAS, you will see there are 2 operations here. There is addition and there is multiplication. According to PEMDAS, what comes first, class? Multiplication. Here's how I want you to show me the work when we do this. Everybody underline 10 times 5. Heather, what's the answer to 10 times 5? 50. You're going to put the answer directly underneath. Now what you're going to do, whatever else is left, 50 and plus was left, so we're going to drop that down. Everyone say, drop it down. Drop it down. Anson, what is my final answer? 100. Everybody drop that answer down underneath it and box it in. Now let's go on to the next one. According to PEMDAS, Adam, what does P stand for? Parentheses. Parentheses. Do you see any parentheses there? As do I. So let's do these first ones. Everybody underline that right there. Adam, what's the answer to 3 plus 7?
10.
10. Everyone drop down a 10 underneath it. And the rest of the stuff that you see right there, we are going to simply drop it down exactly as it looks. So we had 6 minus 3 in parentheses and a little square. Drop that down. Next up, Zion. According to PEMDAS, what do I do first? Parentheses. Is there any work to do inside parentheses? Yes. Let's underline it. What is 6 minus 3, Zion? 3. Now, everything else gets dropped down. So I'm bringing down my 10. I am also bringing down my parentheses, and I'm bringing down the square. Next up, Brandon, what should I do? According to PEMDAS, is there any work left to do inside the parentheses? There's no work inside the parentheses. So let's go to E, exponents. Are there any exponents? Yes, Brandon, what are the exponents? Okay, so we've got 3 squared. Brandon, what is 3 squared? What is it? What is 3 squared? 9. Very good. Okay, it means 3 times itself. 3 times 3. So I'm going to bring down the 9. I also have to bring down the 10. Is this my answer, class? No. What else do I have to bring down? The parentheses. If not, it almost looks like my answer is 109. But what do the parentheses symbolize? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide, class? Multiply. Kaylin, what's my answer? 90 is correct. Box it in. All right, let's go on to problem C and D. Zariana, according to PEMDAS, what should I do first? Exponents. Everybody underline the exponents. Zariana, what is 4 squared? 16, because it means 4 times 4. Remember, everything else simply gets dropped down directly underneath it. Now I have 40 minus 16 divided by 2. Christopher, according to PEMDAS, what should I do first? Subtract or divide? Divide. Everybody underline 16 divided by 2. Christopher, what's that answer? 8. And bring down this other part, 40 and the minus. You're going to drop it down right there. Aubrey, what's my answer? Very good. It is 32. And box it in. On to the next one. This one's a little bit different. If you look at our signs, I have divide and multiply. What comes first, divide or multiply, class?
The first one.
Whatever comes first in the problem. For this case, we are working from left to right because basically divide and multiply are both in the same category, okay? So we are going to just work from left to right on this one. Kyla, what's 54 divided by 9? 6. Class, what should I do with the rest of this problem on the right side? Drop it down. Bring it down exactly as it looks right there. Gerard, what do I do first? I am going to do multiplication. Very good, because remember, they're in the same category. Everybody underline that step. We're going to underline each step along the way, showing me that you understand what you're supposed to be doing next, okay? 6 times 3, Gerard, what is it? 18. And then Caleb, what's my final answer? 18 divided by 6. Not 2. 3 is correct. And then box the answer in. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is distributive property. Read me what it says in red down here. The number outside the parentheses is multiplied by everything in the parentheses. Okay, so up here I have some Jolly Ranchers. Let's say that I decide today I'm going to distribute some Jolly Ranchers to some kids in the class. And I think, anyone wearing a blue shirt? I just want to be kind to the blue shirts today. All right. Hey, guys, listen. Oh, there it is underneath the sweater. I see you, Caleb. Also a blue. There you are. Now, how many of you guys think that was fair?
Yeah.
Was that fair? No, the only people that thought that was fair are the people wearing what color? The blue. That would be highly unfair, okay? What I did was I distributed candy out. But I shouldn't have only done it to the blue shirts. I should have been fair to everyone. Distributive property is about being fair. If there is a number, or in this case, a letter outside the parentheses, we need to distribute it to everything inside the parentheses. So I want you to take your pencil. And we're going to go ahead and go like this. A to B. That means I've got to multiply A times B. If I multiplied A times B, it is called AB. But I have to distribute fairly. I'm also going to distribute A times C. So it would also mean plus A times C would just simply be called AC. So the main idea with distributive property is distribute fairly. Anything on the outside, make sure you distribute to everything on the inside, not just the blue shirts, or not just the B, or not just the C. All right, let's go ahead and turn the page for the next part. These instructions ask us to use the distributive property to evaluate the expression. So let's take our pencils. In order to show me you understand distributive property, you're going to show me that you are distributing that number on the outside to everything on the inside. So the first part is going to be 3 times 2. Now we're just going to use parentheses to show us multiplication. Bring down your plus sign. If I multiply the 3 times the 2, I also have to multiply the 3 times the 3. All right, let's work from left to right. Zariana, what's 3 times 2? 6. Adam, what's 3 times 3?
9.
Anson, what's the answer? 6 plus 9? 15. Is 15. And you guys just used that distributive property because you distributed the outside 3 to everything on the inside of the parentheses. All right, let's do another example. 4 times 50 minus 3. Once again, the instructions have asked us to use the distributive property. How do you show me that you understand distributive property? By drawing arrows, okay? So everybody draw the arrows. What number's on the outside of the parentheses?
4.
The 4. Multiply that times the first one and times the second one. So the first thing I'm going to write down is 4 times what?
50.
50. Drop down your minus sign, and then I'm going to write down 4 times 3. All right, guys, what's 4 times 50? 200. Minus, what's 4 times 3? 12. All right, now we're going to subtract those. 200 minus 12. What is it? 188. All right, let's do a little bit of a review here. 12 plus negative 12 equals 0. We talked about this probably maybe last week or even 2 weeks ago. It is an opposite, okay? 50 plus negative 50 equals what? 0. 10 plus negative 10 equals 0. 3 plus negative 3 equals 0, okay? A number and its opposite always equals 0. Do you remember the other word for opposite? It starts with an I. Not inquiry. Inverse is correct, okay? So right here, number 3 says 12 plus negative 12 equals 0 is an example of the inverse property of addition. Inverse simply is a fancy way to say opposite. All right, one last idea I want you to understand. 2 times negative 3 times negative 4 and 2 times negative 4 times negative 3 is an example of the blank property of multiplication. Do you notice the only difference here? This one is negative 3 times negative 4, and this one, the order has switched, negative 4 times negative 3. We talked about this at the beginning of our lesson today. What is it called when you're allowed to switch the order and it doesn't change the answer? We talked about it with the little cars that are commuting back and forth. Commutative, okay? So we talked about the commutative property of addition. Well, guess what? Commutative property also works with multiplication. All right, so in a more simplistic way, you can see 2 times 4. Guys, what's 2 times 4?
8.
Equals 8. Now I'll switch the order. 4 times 2. What's that answer? 8. So all this is saying is, according to the commutative property of multiplication, you're allowed to switch the order, and it's not going to change your answer. Okay? Now that could only be done with multiplication and addition, not with division or subtraction. All right, for right now, I am going to play you guys a little video that's hopefully going to help you understand PEMDAS even better. All right, so hopefully that little YouTube video helps you to understand order of operations a little bit better. Tonight's homework is 1.5. Because in order for you to get the original problems, you have to go to Big Ideas. Then tonight, when you submit it, you need to make sure all of your homework is written on paper, and then also you have submitted your answers to Big Ideas Math.